there and welcome to Coding Studio. This is B and welcome to my new JavaScript tutorial video. This is going to be about objects and let's jump into it. Okay, so objects in JavaScript are very important. Basically everything in JavaScript is an object, but that's actually not a part of this video, but it's good to know. So let's just create a file. Object.js, and let's jump into it. Now basically in JavaScript an object is just this. You declare a variable and inside the curlies is an object. Now object consists of key value pairs. In this case, let's say the key should be name and the name is B, and this is how you store a key value pair inside an object. Now it cannot only be a string value, it can also be a number, let's say 45, or even another object or an array, skill z. Let's make it an array, and I can read, I can write, and most importantly I can draw a little bit. So as you can see, key value pair is key, then a colon, then the value, and you separate the values with commas, not semicolons but commas. If I were to log out my object now, let's say console.log object, it can be, this can be anything because it's a variable. So if I were to name it B, that's the same thing as this. So if I were to console.log this object, and oh my, okay, node, I meant node object.js. As you can see, it did put out my object, what I just created here. Okay, so this is a basic example of an object. Now you can also access these key value pairs. You can access one value in there too if you want, if you know that you only want the name from this object. I can just say b.name, name, oh my god, and if I were to log it out, console.log, we would get B, but let's try that out, B. So this is a way to call for one specific key inside an object and get its value. There's another way to do the same thing, but we usually go with the dot, and that is as if it was an array, and as a string I put in the name of the key, so this, and we should still get B. Now this is one way to access it, or two. You can also access the keys, so the key names in an object, because let's say you got this object from an API and you don't know what keys it has. You can, I'm gonna console.log it. There is a big object, starts with a capital O. This is not freely choosable, and we say object.keys, and as an argument we give it our object, which is B this time. And what it will give us back is an array containing name, age and skills, but not the values, as strings. As you can see, name, age and skills. Now what you're gonna meet quite often if you're gonna be a JavaScript developer or front-end developer is that when you get an object from an API, sometimes they contain other objects. this is also just a key, it can be named anything. And that can also be an object which has other keys. For example, key 1 is 1, key 2 is 7. And I can of course console.log b dot other object, given I know the name of the other object, and if I run this I get key 1, key 2, and if I want to know the value of key 1 I can just go and dot key 1, and I would get 1, I believe, and I just did. So you can chain these, so b dot other object dot key 1. This is one way of accessing things, or you can switch it up as I've showed it to you earlier, that I'm curious about key 1, and it would give me back the same thing. Now you can not only have objects or arrays or numbers or strings in an object, but you can also store functions. You give it a key, that's going to be the name of your method, because if it's in an object, don't forget the comma. If it's in an object, you have a key, colon, and then you give it an anonymous function, and this is a method. Of course, it can be with a function declaration. This is going to be an anonymous function like this. I'm just going to go with the arrow function because that's cleaner, I think. And let's call this function add1. It takes a number parameter and it returns number plus 1. It's a very simple function, and if you remember what I said in the functions tutorial video, you can just lose the return and the curly, and it's the same thing. And of course you can lose the parentheses too, in this case because we have only one parameter. And if I want to access this function, I first have to access the object itself, b dot add1, and then I give it a number argument. Let's say this is 1, and what should we see is it takes the 1 and adds 1, so it should be 2, and it certainly is. Okay, and you can also access methods this way. I know that the name of the key is add1, so I give it as a string, but I have to give it an argument, and I cannot do it the way like this because it wouldn't know what that is. It would look for something like this, and that's not a good thing. So I don't put the parentheses inside the string, but I put it outside of the square brackets like this. And it should give us back 3 because it added 1 to 2. Now this is not a good practice, so let's just stick with the dot call like this. So that's how you create an object or a method. So you should actually already know everything you need to know about this. Okay, there are more advanced stuff, but this is sort of the basics of objects. And I'm gonna make another video about object destructuring and spread operator with objects, but that's not as much a beginner stuff as the rest of this. But I will just tell you in a few words what that is. Let's create an object. My object is equal, we are going to give it 2 keys. Let's say key 1, which is going to be a string value, and key 2, which is going to be a number value. And oops, if I were to want to save key 1 into a variable later on in my code, I would either do this, key 1 equal key1. This is how someone would go about it, and if I were to log this out into the console, it would work perfectly. Console.log key1. This is a variable now. I would get a string. Now this is perfectly fine, but there is a better practice I do. If I were to just do this, let key1 equals my object. Now key1 contains this whole object. I don't want that, I only want key1 to be saved here. So what I would do is put this into curly brackets or curly braces, and then this way I'm letting this variable declaration know that I am taking a property from an object, and namely the key1 property, and I'm also declaring it as a variable. So what it does, it takes the key1 and saves it into a variable called key1. And if I were to log out key1 again, key1, I would get string again. This is a better practice than the one I've shown a bit before. And this way you can also reference other keys of the object. Let's say with this one line here, I saved key1 and key2 into variables. And this is a better practice if you want to save keys into a variable in JavaScript. As you can see, key2 is also saved in a variable now. 12. This is called object destructuring. There are multiple ways of using it practically. I'm going to make a whole video about it, even in TypeScript. That's going to be a separate video. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe. If you didn't agree with something, feel free to leave a comment. And thank you for watching. See you next time.